Welcome to Writer Syndrome, podcast about writing from start to finish. This episode, we're getting the ball rolling. See what I did there? Russ Capasso, and joining me is Tim Ledney. Tim, how are you, and how is your new year? We are in 2025.
It was good. I'm ready to get the ball rolling as the ball dropped.
Oh boy, here we go.
Now we're getting the ball rolling on idioms. No, it was good. I had a good 2024 and a 2025. How about you?
Good. Yeah, it was good. It was good. We already talked about our goals and stuff like that. So, but yeah,
we're done.
A plus. A plus for everyone. Grading on a curve. C minuses are now all A pluses. Let's go get it. So,
Russ, tell me about idioms and why we're talking about them.
Because I wanted to. That's why. No, this was like a thing we had toyed around with a long time ago about idioms, and I always thought it'd be kind of fun to just like explore them and get into their history and like where they came from and how they could be showing up in writing and used in writing. So this is kind of where we are to start 2025 with. So we'll do these every once in a while, I think. Yeah,
we'll do like periodic episodes about idioms. Maybe we can make up some of our own.
Or when we run out of ideas for topics. It's the fly episode of Breaking Bad.
Don't let them know that.
People know. They know. They have to know. So yeah, idioms. And we're going to, I guess, what is an idiom, right? Might as well start with the basics. So I'm pulling this right from Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and then I'll give like a little more of a easier to understand version of it.
Bring it.
For Merriam-Webster, it's an expression in the usage of a language that is peculiar to itself, either in having a meaning that cannot be derived from the conjoined meanings of its elements, such as up in the air for undecided. Yeah, this is gross.
You're putting me to sleep.
I know. Horrible. Is this terrible? I know. Or in its grammatically atypical use of words such as give way. Okay, I had to do that because that's the
definition. I don't know what any of that meant.
Okay, so here's like the here's
Give me the TDLR.
Yeah, I wonder how many idioms we're going to use in this episode without even knowing. TLDR, yeah. So an idiom is a phrase or expression whose meaning cannot be understood from the literal definitions of its individual words.
Okay.
Does that make a little bit better? That's better, right?
That makes more sense.
Okay.
Like if we're taking it literally, it won't make any sense.
Right.
It's a figurative use of words.
You're taking the words out of my mouth. Instead, it conveys a figurative or symbolic meaning that is often unique to a particular language or culture. For example, the idiom break the ice doesn't mean literally shattering ice, but refers to starting a conversation or easing tension in a social setting.
Okay.
They're widely used in both spoken and written language, which is, why we're talking about them. And adding personality and vibrancy to communication. They often require cultural or contextual understanding to be interpreted correctly, though. So,
yeah,
that's that.
I know. That's interesting, right? Because, I'd mentioned it before. I'll bring it up again. Like, by using them, you can accidentally isolate, some of your audience.
Yes.
You might be not speaking to people who are coming from different countries that might not be familiar with whatever idiom you're using. Like my brother's wife didn't know what he meant when he said that he was going to hit the hay. Because taking it literally, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you go punch hay? Do you use any idioms in your book?
Oh God, great question. I don't. I'd have to reread it. I'm sure I do at some point. I mean, there's so many variations. This is from the Webster's dictionary too. Like the makeup of idioms. Like we know thousands of idioms, right? And we use them every day, but I think there's some we don't even know we're using. Like they can be completely ordinary, like first off, the other day, make a point of what's up, or more colorful, like asleep at the wheel, bite the bullet, knuckle sandwich. Huh. A particular type of idiom called the phrasal verb consists of a verb followed by an adverb or preposition, or sometimes both, in like make over, make out, and make up. For instance, notice how the meanings have nothing to do with the usual meanings of over, out, and up. So like, idioms can be extended to like everyday use that we don't even know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
they're everywhere.
Oh, the classic English language. It's more complex than
we definitely use them. We just might not have intentionally used them.
We're not using the colorful. We're not using the more like colorful known ones, right? Like,
yeah.
No.
I have like some father type figures who might spout out a couple. Or maybe those are proverbs.
So, nice transition. I like it.
Thank you.
A little behind the scenes. That's called a nice transition, folks. And we did not script that, but Tim did it elegantly. So, proverb. What is the difference? So, proverb is a short, well-known saying that expresses a general truth, piece of advice, or piece of wisdom based on experience or common sense.
So, like the early bird gets the worm.
That's right. A stitch in time saves 9. Proverbs are often simple and straightforward, yet they carry deep meaning and are easy to remember. For example, stitch in time saves 9, advises addressing problems early to prevent them from worsening.
What does a stitch in time saves 9 mean?
I just told you. It advises addressing problems early to prevent them from getting worse. I've never actually heard that one.
Me neither.
Yeah, just the example that's here, but a stitch in time saves nine. So
Interesting.
they're an essential part of many cultures and passed down through generations, often becoming ingrained in everyday language. They serve as valuable tools for teaching moral lessons or offering guidance in succinct and memorable way, whereas idioms are just fun things to say.
Okay.
So that is the difference between idioms and proverbs. And we were talking about this before we started, like, how would we use these in writing? And did I use one in my manuscript? Did you use any in yours that you can remember? Obviously, like the colorful ones. Obviously, there's
I don't think the colorful ones. I mean, there's a small chance, like one of the stock characters, but I don't think so. Like I said, I've got some kind of fatherly figures who do give like the theme of advice to some people sometimes, but no.
Yeah, me neither. Not that I can like intentionally remember.
I think I created a proverb for my main character's dad to say.
Yeah.
And she dismisses it because, you have to.
Yeah, whatever. What do old people know?
Yeah. I also think you're kind of like dad-like and cringy, so it's like supposed to be dismissed.
Yeah, I don't think I used any in particular, but I guess looking at it, you could use them for, it's another literary device, right? And you could use it for adding some color to your text. You could use it probably mostly in dialogue, I would think, to kind of define a character, maybe.
Yeah.
So those are examples of how to use it in writing. You can use it for humor as well. But so get the ball rolling. There are a couple of variations of this one too, right? Set the ball, start the ball, whatever. You mentioned a few of them, but I'd only heard get the ball rolling, really.
Yeah, I think probably because get the ball rolling is like an Americanized thing, and that there's a chance that set the ball rolling could be more of a European or British thing.
I could see that. So get the ball rolling. Where did this one? History. So a lot of idioms there is like, it's kind of unclear where exactly they started from, but this one seems to be finding its origin in like sports like bowling or billiards, which makes sense.
Or croquet.
Don't
forget cray. For the fancy people.
That's right, croquet, right? Because those are all games where getting the ball rolling starts the game.
Yeah, you start the game by like rolling it onto the field. So it's like to begin something.
And of course, this has evolved into being corporate buzzword, right? To get a project started, right?
Yeah.
Let's get the ball rolling on getting something going.
Just hearing that, can't you imagine an immediate stock character with a suit, like
100%,
just like a smarmy, superficial person, like standing up in front of a crowd of people who don't want to listen to him?
That is a great tie-in to the writing and character development, right? Someone who comes in and is like, let's get the ball rolling, and it's sort of like some like military type or someone who's like, just using the jargon. Then
like you can see how idioms can be used as a shortcut for characterization.
Yes, absolutely.
Like before you even describe what they look like, the words they're using or the idioms they're choosing to use reflect on that character very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess make sure that if you're using them, that you want them to maybe know the history or know how they're like used, because you wouldn't want the wrong character to say the wrong idiom, right?
Yeah, because it might be out of character for that person to say that thing, and will paint a picture for for a reader to understand who they are and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But
all right, so we've got set, start, get the ball rolling. We think it began with croquet or
bowling, billiards, croquet. That's where it seems like the origins are coming from, right?
Yeah.
So let's get the ball rolling. Now, the more interesting one, though, is which we went on a little bit of a rabbit hole tangent here.
Yeah.
Was keep the ball rolling. Now, this is kind of a fun one. Since we were in the get, we're like, we might as well just keep going with this.
We were going to keep the ball rolling on getting the ball rolling.
on this idiom. That's fun. So keep the ball rolling. Now, this is a fun one. I was doing the digging and, we did some quick digging, but the best and most concise, it seems like, origin story for keep the ball rolling is from phrases.org.uk. So the American expression keep the ball rolling was preceded by the similar, now archaic British phrase keep the ball up. They had much the same meaning. The earlier one alludes to keeping a ball in the air, that is, conveying the notion of keeping an activity going. Okay, that tracks. I guess this was used figuratively by the radical social philosopher Jeremy Bentham in a letter to George Wilson in 1781, referring to his efforts to keep a conversation going. He quoted, "I put a word in now and then to keep the ball up."
Huh.
Yeah.
So what was fun. What's the presidential election one?
So going further down now. Now, to keep the ball rolling version of the phrase owes its origin and popularity to the U.S. presidential election of July 1840. This is kind of fun. The election was widely regarded as introducing all the paraphernalia of present-day elections, that is, campaign songs, advertising slogans, and publicity stunts of all kinds.
So one of these publicity stunts, they had these giant like balls that they would roll.
Yeah. So there's like a little bit more behind it, like the whole stunt that they were pulling. So it was the unpopular incumbent President Martin Van Buren was pitted against Whig candidates General William Harrison, a warrior who'd fought against the Shawnee Indians at Tippecanoe, and John Tyler, separate there. And they had like all these cider drinking folksy songs they were doing, all these like blah, 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 to get their people into a rah, rah. And Harrison's campaign literature referred to victory balls.
Okay.
So victory balls, these weren't as you might expect, but they were like dance ball. They weren't like dance balls or something like that. Like, oh, we're going to a ball.
Right, they're like big literal.
They're actual but 10-foot diameter globes made of tin and leather, which were pushed from one campaign rally to the next. And his supporters were invited to attend the rallies and push the ball onto the next town, chanting, "Keep the ball rolling."
Huh.
Yeah. He's the guy, his campaign crew there were the ones that got us all this pomp and circumstance around our election. So thanks.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks for that. So that's keep the ball rolling. That's get the ball rolling. And once you get it rolling, so you started in bowling or croquet, then you keep it going by pushing balls to the next town.
It's weird, like thinking about these idioms and proverbs, and like, and my brain is going to stock characters because they feel like they're such stock phrases.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That
very generic kind of thing.
They're so genero that like you can use them, I think, to great effect or to great detriment.
I could see myself using an idiom from a character purely for a humor standpoint, and or like doing it like a meta way where they're making fun of that situation, like making fun of that character that would say something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like I could see a particular character like in mind, like Jake or something like that. He's like the kind of wise ass. Like he would say one of these like buzzwordy idiom type phrases to make fun of someone else that's in the room with them.
Yeah. In my weaker moments when I'm driving around the town that I live in, I listen to Bloomberg on AM radio, and it's like stocks and bonds, and I only understand about half of what they say, but I listen. And they brought on these like tech bros to talk about AI, and this dude was non-stop idioms, metaphors, bull in a china shop. It was just like, he spoke in riddles, and tried to make everybody feel like the train had left the station. It's the third inning. It's the third inning. Every other minute, it was like this buzzword thing, and I was like, I want to call and be like, "This is terrible.
Say something.
This is terrible.
Say something with actual meaning."
I mean, all they're trying to do is like get people tricked into buying into AI stocks and things.
Yeah.
But the dude just sounded completely hungover and couldn't speak in plain language. And it was like disgusting to me. Yeah.
See, again, I mean, that's a character,
Had he existed in a book, I would have been like, this character is overwritten. Nobody talks like this.
I mean, he exists in real life, so you probably
exists in real life. I know.
That's just an asshole. Continue, keep the ball rolling. I don't know. That's about as far as it goes.
Well, we got the ball rolling. We kept it rolling. I've never used it in a book.
No, me neither.
Story.
No.
But I could see how I would.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to do anything else you want to know about get the ball rolling or idioms or?
No, I think I'm learning a lot about idioms, and I look forward to discussing our next one sometime in the future.
Heck yeah. It's a short one. It's a short win right there, right? But keep the ball rolling. Just keep the ball. We need to keep the ball rolling in our writing, where we're pushing pages to the next town to write.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah, part of me is like kind of disgusted that presidential campaign gets credit for something that they probably didn't create. It was just the most visual, stupid manifestation of the idiom.
Yeah.
I like looking into the history of these because there's so many different answers, and there is not consensus about where they began. I say croquet.
So Harrison did win that, just so you know.
What did he win? Was it a primary?
This is the presidential election, William Henry Harrison.
He's a president?
President elections were held, in October, December 2nd, 1840. He did this whole campaign in July of 1840. And Whig nominee William Henry Harrison defeated incumbent President Martin Van Buren of the Democratic Party. So
I thought we had Van Buren.
We did, but he was the incumbent.
Well, look at that. I didn't know. William Henry Harrison. Was
He's
he
one-
great?
He's one of those
Was he a
ones that
great
just
president?
well, he gave us some campaign stuff, some campaign songs, and balls to push around from town to town. Apparently,
Old
So-
Tippecanoe.
to Canoe and Tyler too. Yeah.
Wow,
so-
my U.S. history is abysmal.
yeah, I think that's all right. I mean, William Harris, I don't know much about him either, so he didn't stand out. I'm sure some historians like, what? He did this.
Well, you learn something new every day.
There you go.
I
That's what
learned
we're
3
here for.
things today.
That's what we're here for. So, all right. So that's our first one. That's our first idiom. I think that was fun. I'm looking forward to doing more.
I like it.
Me
Put a
too.
cork in it.
Short and sweet, to the point. What are you reading? Watching? Playing?
Oh, what am I reading? So I picked up that book that you recommended, The Science of Storytelling.
Oh, you did get it. Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm dubious so far,
Okay. Be dubious.
but I like the concept of it. I just don't know
Yeah.
if I like the author yet.
Yeah. Finish it. And see
I
it.
liked that he himself writes fiction and was trying to improve his fiction writing.
Yeah.
It's interesting how popular his kind of like general pop culture science books are, because they are.
Yes. Yep.
Like they're not, like you'll have your academic science books,
Yeah.
that are just for, academics. And then you have these ones that are kind of like beach reads or for people who are just general interest books. He has a ton of these, but his fiction is not nearly as popular. So
Yeah.
it's interesting, but he obviously has a passion for it
Yeah.
based on the research he's done. So yeah, that, I'm just about done with that Jack Reacher book,
Kill shot. First one
Kill Shot.
Kill shot. Yeah.
And here's the boring thing. I just read 2 finance books.
Look at you listening to Bloomberg and reading finance books. What are you doing? You turn into a Wall Street bro on me?
I gotta have a Wall Street bro. No, it's more about like making sure that I'm like saving correctly as opposed to gambling with stocks. I think I might gamble with stocks at some point for fun, but mostly just making sure that like I have a Roth and I had some money just sitting in a savings account like doing nothing. So whatever.
Yeah.
Not a lot, pennies, but who knows? Maybe it'll pay for an editor for this book that I need to publish.
I would say gambling stocks, not necessarily gambling if you do your research.
Yeah.
But there are ways to invest in the stock market that's not gambling. So this
it
isn't
sounds like-
this isn't a finance podcast, by the way. You're not taking this advice, but find a good fund, find a good ETF for someone who's conservative in terms of stocks, and you're fine. There's a couple.
And it sounds like you can't beat the market, and the best thing to do is just to kind of do
It's
index
long-term.
funds. Yeah, it's like, and you'll get like 8% roughly year over year.
Yeah, it depends on your risk tolerance. I mean, you figure that out, and then you can throw in some money in some more riskier stuff that you don't need. But it should be a long-term gain. Don't do
Dude,
short-term
maybe we
stuff.
should have a whole finance portion of the podcast.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, don't rate books to make a living. So,
Yeah.
the end. Okay, so finance book, that's fun.
Yeah. And that's it. And then I saw the Nosferatu.
Oh,
by
you did?
Eggers. I
What'd you think? I haven't seen it yet, but
I won't ruin anything. I was built to love the movie.
Yeah.
I love the movie.
excellent. I mean,
So
I like his stuff, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. So,
it's interesting because like the closest approximation in my brain right now, since like, this is based on Nosferatu, which was like an unofficial retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it's interesting that Eggers keeps the names from Nosferatu, which
Yeah.
were, adapted names. You don't have like Jonathan Harker and
Yeah.
Mia and all that stuff, or Mina. It's just not, it's not small scale, but I'll say it's intimately small.
okay.
Where like that Coppola one that had like Keanu Reeves in it and
Yeah. Yep.
Gary Oldman, that's like a sweeping, overly sexualized, like romantic epic.
Yeah.
And this is not that. This is like, I want to say kind of much more limited in focus. It's like it, but
Nice.
Eggers did a killer job. I was a big fan.
Excellent. Yeah.
Jill thought it was a little too wordy. She thought there was too much dialogue. But I liked it.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. I was still planning to see it, so good. Anything
How about
else?
you? What are you reading? What are you watching?
Let's see. Reading wise, I finished The Shining.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's kind of weird having seen the movie a million times before reading the book and then reading the book.
So
Two
different.
very different animals. Some of the core things they have matched, but the book, man, it gets so much more backstory for every character in the book, which is very Stephen King. But the
Yeah.
book leans way more into, I think, the abuse factor. And
Yeah.
I mean, the movie definitely touches on that, but in the book, it's like they cover Jack Torrance's like this conflict he has of like, I'm a good person with one mistake. I made one mistake, you know, and then this miscommunication or misunderstanding of like Wendy saying something to him and him thinking that she's blaming him for something, and you know, for later on abuse that's not happening, and then the hotel is basically a whole other character of itself. That's more almost like this demonic thing that's trying to take the kid, and then Jack feels like he's the special one. He's not. And I was like, this is way more than I was expecting. So and of course, the ending is totally different.
I was going to say, remind me, because it's been a few years since I've read it.
This is spoilers.
Jack has like doesn't he have like a heroic, I'm going to the boiler room to burn down the hotel type moment?
I think he's going down there to save it, because the hotel
going to save it.
The hotel is trying to get him to get Danny and the wife, kill the wife, and do this sort of stuff and save the hotel. But the boiler ends up blowing up. And then the cook, Halloran there, he has this whole epic journey getting to the hotel back. He's like fighting like the hedges, the animals, and this lion stuff. I'm like, what is going? What is this?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the end. You know, Halloran, Wendy, and Danny all live. And the hotel blows up, and because of boiler, which is like they keep alluding to that throughout. He keeps alluding to that throughout the book, but.
Can you imagine how shocking it would have been for audiences who read The Shining to see Halloran get an axe immediately?
I know. So I watched The Shining last night because I was like, well, I just read the book and we were watching movies. I still think the movie's fantastic.
It's great. It's different. It's certainly an adaptation,
which is totally fine. Like I think that's fine. All the changes were the right changes, because at 1980, like Stanley Kubrick is like, I'm not doing some hedge animal that's going to attack. No. But in the book, like Halloran and Wendy get like really like I thought they were both gonna die in the book, like because Jack goes after them with like that, not the croquet but the roquet hammer or something like that.
Yep.
But there's like a lot of things that they in the movie that tie to the book, and I don't know, they're both different animals, but I enjoyed it.
It's an interesting kind of, it's weird. So I read Doctor Sleep, right, which is King's sequel to The Shining, and it's fine. Instead of abuse, it kind of deals with like addiction and, you know, trauma, and it follows Danny. Flanagan adapted.
Yeah, for the movie.
Dr. Sleep. Yeah.
With Ewan McGregor was in that, wasn't he? He played Danny.
Yeah, with Ewan McGregor with his always hard-fought English accent. His American accent is so... I still remember him in Black Hawk Down trying to say coffee, and he was like, would you like some coffee? It's like, oh, God, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, just...
But anyway, he's perfectly fine. It's just Flanagan, who did a great job trying to balance the books of Stephen King and the visuals of Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting because they go back to the Overlook Hotel and they recast Jack and Wendy, and it looks beautiful. It feels like dinner theater, maybe, because like those roles are so iconic, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy they didn't use like CG or something. On the other, I feel like it could have just been subtle. Like not CG at all, but just like, I don't know. They're whole characters that you see at the time, and like.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a sequel to the book or the movie?
So it's a sequel.
Because those endings are very like the movie, like Halloran's dead, the hotel's blown up. It's still kind of around in a way, I don't know, a weird way how he sets that up. But in the book, like, or in the movie, you know, the hotel's still there. Jack is dead.
So it's a sequel to both. It's like it's this interesting marriage of Kubrick and King.
Okay.
Where it's like it takes the things, I don't know, because you know how like Stephen King famously, you know, didn't like The Shining when it first came out. I think his views have softened over the years.
Yeah.
So it takes that kind of tension, you know, of the creator not liking a director's interpretation of his work and kind of marries it. I don't know. Okay. It's worth watching just as in that kind of experiment. And then the whole story itself is ridiculous, you know, in that like there's energy vampires who are like drawn to people who shine. And the main character is Rose the Hat, does wonderful. It's Rebecca Ferguson from Silo. Yeah. She kills. She does a phenomenal job. Yeah, in Dune. Yeah. It's just, they're just interesting characters. Like energy vampires are. Yeah. Worn on my bingo card, I think, for the sequel, for a sequel to The Shining.
And are those in the book?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. I'll say that the movie is a very faithful adaptation of the book and also a decent sequel to The Shining.
That's quite a pull.
Like, honestly, right? Like, I mean, kudos to him for trying to pull it off.
Yeah.
It's worth watching.
Huh. Okay. Well, either way, I finished that book. I read and I watched The Shining. I'm almost finished with the book, The Quantum Thief by Hanu Ryanimi. It's good. I'm like probably like 60 pages left on it. It's like a heist, fantasy, sci-fi heist book. It's been kind of fun. This is the one that bounces between first and third person.
Oh, right.
All the other characters are in third. The main character is in first, the thief. It's fun. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like, oh god, like Stevenson world building almost, but not nearly as like complicated. But some moments I'm like, what am I visualizing right now? Like, but it's fun. It's part of a trilogy. I'm gonna see how this ends and decide if I want to continuing on with the other two books. But it's an easy, quick read.
I got a question for you.
Oh boy.
Have you finished Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne?
I was just going to make an update on that, though. I have not.
Oh, no. That was your goal.
I know it was. It was my goal for my first goal for 2025, and I failed. A-.
Oh, no.
A+. But I am making progress. I'm reading chapters. I've probably got like a third of the book left, so.
Yeah, you're saying it's like 700 pages, right?
Yeah, I think it is. At least the hard copy version is. It's like
kudos to you for sticking with it, man. I feel like I wouldn't have been able to get through it.
It's not bad. It's just like you only have so much. I don't know. You're either really really into Vikings, or you're kind of like, yeah, those are cool. Let's read that stuff, and that's kind of what it feels like. So the world's cool, the characters are cool. I just like sometimes I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I watched The Shining. I started this. I don't know. I'm watching I tried this The Old Man with Jeff Bridges. It's got like 2 seasons of it.
Okay.
It's like very tropey old man with a past. The first episode felt like so much telling and not like showing. Like,
yeah,
all right, I got it. He was a badass at some point in his life, and now he's just an old man. It's got like the Taken vibes to it. He's got a daughter that he's barely communicates with or does. Kind of keeping her at distance because my past. I used to do some bad stuff. It's like, all right, stop telling me this stuff. Just do the stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem of TV these days, where they need to hit their 45-minute mark and like explain stuff.
Can I tell you, I am shocked that this Penguin show on HBO is good.
I stopped. I stopped after second episode.
So here's the crazy thing. I'm actually enjoying it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I waited to watch it because everybody was talking about it. I was like, it can't be good. It cannot be good.
Yeah.
And it's like Baby Sopranos, but it's still like, for the first 2 episodes, I've enjoyed it. I haven't watched the third yet.
Okay. I stopped after 2 because I was like, I don't think I care anymore. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't care anymore. I like what Colin Farrell? Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
What he's done with the Penguin. I think it's fun, and I think it's like, okay, this is a nice update to the character to fit the new Batman world. But I was like watching this, like, I think he's good just to be in the Batman world, not to have his own show, I don't think. It's like a little bit too much, but I'll let you finish it and let you tell me.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I should keep watching.
I got one more thing. One more TV thing. Have you watched any of Mythic Quest?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you watch the episode about Dark Quiet Death, who has the actress from The Penguin in it? It's like the self-contained episode. We watched that with the kids the other day. It was a phenomenal episode. I guess it's like Rob McElhenney's sister wrote it, I guess she was an author beforehand, and he brought her on into the writer's room. I think it's her first TV piece.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's such a good self-contained episode. It's really impressive.
It's just one. Does it carry over to 2 or it's just one, right?
Just one episode, completely self-contained, completely satisfying, completely authentic. It's just good writing. It's good showing and not telling.
Yeah.
It's really impressed.
Have you seen the other one where they do the old guy Abrams, like his character's backstory?
No, I haven't seen that one.
That's another one. It's like a 1-episode one. It's got the guy, he's from, the Silicon Valley show, and he pops up in random spots, but I think it's just a 1-episode one. It's same thing. It's funny because it's Abrams' older character is the writer for the Mythic Quest, and his whole thing throughout the entire show is joking. He keeps saying backstory. That's what's important to character. And then they give him a backstory episode, and it's pretty good. And that's pretty much it. And playing wise, I started that Indiana Jones game, A Great Circle.
That sounds great.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend. So,
who would have thought that they could have made an IP game not be terrible in this day and age?
Yeah, right.
And not even just terrible. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And yet they can't deliver a good Star Wars game for the life of them. Nobody.
I mean, I don't know. I thought the Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order was good.
Yeah,
Don't
when
look at
they
me like
finished
that.
them 3 years later.
No, Fallen Order came out clean. The Survivor one was rough. Fallen Order
No,
was,
none of them came out clean.
Fallen Order was good when it came out. I played that right off the bat. I mean, there was definitely
janky.
no. You're thinking Survivor. Survivor was bad. Fallen Order came out like a little more polished than
Okay.
the ones, but
Anyway, okay, one good Star Wars.
you
game.
still played it and you still liked it. So.
I liked it. But I'm just saying that this Indiana Jones game is like AAA, 9.0. Nobody's saying it's good. It's like if you like Indiana Jones, it's good. They're just saying it's a good game.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, all around. And didn't come out janky, which is nice. But I do agree. A lot of games are coming out janky. And I don't even know the last Indiana Jones game. I think I played it was maybe on PlayStation 1 or something. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it was like a third person one, I think. I don't remember, but.
Pitfall is the last one I played, I think.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we're done here, right?
We're done. We got the ball rolling.
Now we're stopping the conversation.
Stop that ball.
So that's our episode. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with our next episode in January. We're going to talk about what's that face? You're making a face. What's that
Would
face?
the opposite of getting the ball rolling be pack it up? All right, let's pack it up.
Let's pack it up. Yeah, probably.
That's got to be an idiom.
Feels like it. All right, let's pack it up. So our next episode, we're going to get into coincidences in stories.
And happenstance. And if there's a difference.
And is there a difference? And how many are you allowed? Is there a limit?
Yeah. What's the upper limit of happenstance and coincidence?
I feel like there was a show or a movie I had watched recently where I was complaining about that. I was like, all right, it got to a point where I was like, there's nothing here is connected. You turned it a snowball of coincidences of events happening. Nothing is logically tied. So I think that's an important thing to go into. But you need at least one to get a story going, I think, typically.
Yeah, let's talk about it because I think the main character should be allotted some.
Yeah.
Because they're special.
Everyone's special in their own story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you enjoyed the episode, share with a friend. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a review because that's helpful. 2025, you can still find us on Instagram, Writer Syndrome Books. We're gonna, right? 2025?
We're gonna post?
Are we?
Probably not.
No, probably not, but it's there.
Don't.
If you start following, then we'll start posting. Is that like a throw me the whip, I'll throw the idol thing?
That's not how social media works. Just follow an empty account. And
just start following them. We'll start posting. It's gonna be the.
We're also like a decade too late on Instagram.
Yeah, probably. But for all of our other episodes and contact information, reach out if you're an author or want to talk. Visit us at writersyndrome.com.